Welcome to the Sinister Directory, where we show you creepy videos, photos, audio recordings, and other horrifying or unexplained content. We do not take credit for any of the material we find, and all rights go to the original posters. In 1997, Art Bell was hosting his radio show Coast to Coast AM, where he was looking for Area 51 callers. To me, it sounds like he was looking for current employees or former employees specifically to talk about, either their experiences at Area 51 or their knowledge of what goes on there. And he received a call from this man, who does not name himself.
Line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really soon.
So you can't spend a lot of time on the phone. So give us something quick.
Okay. Okay, what we're thinking of as aliens, Art, they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Discharge.
I started getting...
The audio and transcript was uploaded to YouTube as Area 51, the Frantic caller, and I feel like that's definitely a perfect way to describe this man because he does sound very frantic and rushed and nervous and terrified. He claims that he doesn't have a lot of time to talk to Art because the government is going to track him down, find where he's calling from, and detain him, or whatever he believes is going to happen. This man claims to be a former employee of Area 51 and was let go on a medical discharge a week earlier, or roughly a week earlier. That alone could have a lot to do with why he's calling in and why he's saying these things, because we don't know what the medical issue was that caused him to be let go. It could have been a physical problem, or it could have been a mental problem where, everyone else working there is noticing that this guy's having serious issues. Maybe he's been spewing out conspiracy theories like this all the time, and none of this was actually going on there, and he had to be let go because of it, or other problems. He had other paranoia issues or anxiety or whatever else was going on, and he had to be let go for mental disability reasons, not just like a physical medical reason. That's the only thing about this call that really makes me skeptical as to whether or not it could be real or not, just based on how someone could be psychotic really and believing things that aren't true. But I honestly feel like either way, this guy wasn't faking it. I think even if these things weren't actually going on and he was just spewing out nonsense, I think he truly believed what he was saying, because he does sound genuinely afraid. He sounds very nervous. He sounds like he really thinks he is about to be tracked down and stopped from saying anything further. At a lot of points during the call, he sounds like he's pretty much at a loss for words, like there's so much he wants to say, but has to fit key points into such a small time frame because he can't be on the phone for so long. And I feel like that adds a little bit of authenticity to it, because I think someone who was planning to do this and was going to make it a hoax would have planned out ahead of time more of what they were going to say, unless of course you can plan out to sound like you don't really know what you want to say, but I think if you're planning it, you wouldn't think like that. I feel like you would plan out exactly what you're going to say. At the part where he says they are not what they claim to be, I can't really tell if he's saying that aliens are not what they claim to be, like he's had some kind of personal contact with them, or they've said, they're friendly and now they want to take over the world, or if he's saying that earlier precursor of the space program said that they were friendly and they're not. I can't really tell which way that's going, but either way, we know that he's saying that aliens are not what we expect them to be or what we perceive them to be as, and they're evil beings. The whole satellite going out is kind of strange because it's not like it was just a malfunction on either the caller's end or on Art's end. The whole system just went out and they had to use their backup system in order to revive the station and go on with normal programming. When I first decided to do this video, I didn't realize that this man supposedly called into Art again 7 months later in 1998 to reveal that it was all a hoax. And I found that while doing more research on this, and I'm a little skeptical about it, but this is the call.
East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi, Art. This is Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hello. You didn't disconnect me before, did you?
Were you on earlier tonight?
No, not, towards the end of the last hour, you said, East of the Rockies, you're on the air, and your voice was immediately replaced by the operator saying, your party has not connected.
Oh, well, see, as you can now tell, I don't screen calls. So
right.
What happened, obviously, was that I answered the phone just at the very instant that you had been ringing as long as they were going to let you ring.
Yeah.
And so that occurs, obviously, sometimes I go to a line and it's dead and nobody's there, and that's what's happened. We just were on the cusp there. Anyway, I'm glad you made it back through.
Yeah, you got all my paranoia buttons running. I always get very nervous when I call you. I'm Brian. I hung up on you last week.
I see.
And I just figured, damn the torpedoes. I'll just do this and let the chips fall where they will.
All right.
Everybody, I am the Area 51 caller. That's my statement, and let you or whatever tear it apart.
You claim you're the Area 51 caller?
I am the man.
How do you account for the fact, Area 51 caller,
okay,
that part of the way through your spiel, the satellite went down?
I have no idea, and it scared the heebie-jeebies out of me that night. I've called a number of times on your specialty line nights doing different, kind of wacky characters, and that's all that one was supposed to be. And if the call had been completed, it would have been ancient history by now.
Has it occurred to you, as Barbara Marx Hubbard suggested tonight, that perhaps, if you're really what you say you are, you created the reality of the rest of the situation and took down my satellite?
That scares the heebie-jeebies out of me because it means that what I was saying was somehow correct, and it was fabrication, kind of
creating a reality.
Yeah, if that was the case, I humbly apologize to you because I love your show, and the last thing I would ever want to do is
knock me off the air.
So what can I do to prove my claim here?
Well, I guess you could give us a little of what you gave us then so that we could hear it and know it to be you.
Are you sure you want me to do that, Art?
I'm positive.
Don't, Art, please. I don't want you to ask me to do this. If I start doing that guy,
You're right about that. Now, let's just take that little sample that you just gave us so that we don't alter some sort of horrid little reality here at the end of the program, and we'll let the callers be the judge.
Okay.
All right?
I thank you for this opportunity. This has just been driving me bananas for months, and I didn't know what you wanted me to do. I knew it was very difficult for me to prove to you. But I just thank you for your patience in dealing with me up to this time.
All right, it's quite all right. Thank you. Fritz in Phoenix, as a matter of fact, called and said, oh, yes, that's him. Somebody else said, oh, no. Now he has done his little Area 51 caller IMO, or the real thing, depending on what you think. And so we'll leave it up to all of you, that is, what you think.
To me, Art himself sounds a little skeptical about this too, and I can see why. It definitely seems strange that this guy would call in again so much later. It's not like he could call back in a week later or even a month later or 2 months later. It took 7 months for him to call back. From what I found, a lot of people seem to think that this is either a different person calling in and imitating this guy's voice, which if he is, he did do it very well, because while I don't think it sounds much like him while he's calm, when he does the imitation of himself 7 months earlier, it does definitely sound like him. It's very convincing. So people think it's either that or it is the same guy who called, but he was being forced to say that it was all a hoax so the government doesn't get questioned. And honestly, I don't really know what to think about that. I don't think very strongly either way. I think it's just strange. And this really did make me question my feelings about the first call, because I really didn't think that he sounded like he could have been faking it in the first one, but then this call, this second call, definitely has to make you question it. I wish he'd provided examples of these other supposed wacky characters that he did on Art's show, since he said he did several of them, but we're not given any of those, so we have nothing else to go off of other than this guy's imitation of supposedly himself 7 months earlier. Listening back to parts of this second call again, after he says that the satellite going out scared the heebie-jeebies out of him that night, I feel like his laugh after that sounds a little bit nervous, and this might just be me dissecting this too much and looking too far into it, but I feel like it sounds like a nervous laugh, and it's scaring the heebie-jeebies out of him. Could have been him being scared that, they found him, they're cutting him out, and they're coming to get him like he originally thought that they were. Overall, I've always really liked that first call ever since the first time I heard it. Whether it's real or not, I think this man sounds very scared, and I think it's just done very well if he was acting. And if he wasn't acting, like I said, I think he either believes what he's saying is true or it is true. And that just adds a lot more fear to it. Please let us know what you think about these two calls in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take on it. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.